And I end up, essentially, joining ROTC, went to Army Medical School right after college, after I commissioned in San Antonio. When I commissioned into the Army, I began to question, like, should I stay here in the military? I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm partying it up, everything from, going, doing my deal in there, but also I'm living up with the guys. I mean, we're going to strip clubs. We're living that type of life. It was just crazy, man. We were actually in Texas at this time. Yeah. However, this is what sort of spurred that on. Like, there's so many conversations going on. Like, hey, bro, what are you going to do after your stint? Your contract is up. Yeah. And we will all talk about this. Like, I'm going to go get in business, man. I'm going to go start me a business with the money that I get from military. And then I would hear other guys say other things like, I'm going to go back and run my dad's farm or whatever, like whatever it looked like. But for me personally, I was trying to really shape and just move in a direction I thought was best. And I would see my cousin out in Los Angeles in movies like American Pie. Yeah. He was in American Reunion, one of the only black guys in that movie. So, and then also the lucky one was Zac Efron. He was Zac Efron's best friend in that movie. And I was like, okay, my cousin's out there doing it big. Here goes my discontentment sort of driving me out to LA now. So I'm going to go out there. I may even go AWOL and leave this military stuff with the way he's living. And I decided I'm going to go out there, and I did, man. And I was still in the military, but I was basically in the reserves going almost AWOL in a way, just to fulfill these desires of my own heart, man. And crazy world. It got more crazy after that. So
So you go to Hollywood, like
Hollywood, West Hollywood to be exact. Yeah. And I began to be a Viner. I don't know if you remember Vine, but I began to explode on that platform along with some of the guys I was with. I would be with a lot of YouTubers and I was riding the rocket ship of social media fame. And out of nowhere, bro, like after all this stuff begins to happen, my platforms are exploding. I'm getting contracts, opportunities coming from all over the place. I remember
like brand deals and stuff like that.
Yeah, brand deals all over the place. And one thing that really stuck out to me is that I began to get with an artist who was a really well-known artist. Was a hype man for this guy who was from Kansas City, Tech Nine, Strange Music, worked with some of them. But needless to say, I'm connected with an agent out in LA at a club one night, and he ends up connecting me with Soulja Boy, and I became a hype man for Soulja Boy for a minute. So I'm way ahead of myself at this point, and I'm sleeping around, I'm indulging myself, I'm whatever it looks like to YOLO, live now, live once, whatever. And I even got to a point where I began dating this girl that I thought was my dream girl. I thought she was everything I wanted. She was in law school at USC. On the other end, because she wasn't satisfying me fully all the time, I had these other desires. I end up looking over to the porn industry to see if that had what I needed. And there was a young lady in the porn industry I was in an emotional affair with. Like, I was everywhere, bro. That's what I'm just trying to get to. Like, I was in a broken place. I was at that point in between 24 and 26, like somewhere in there, that bubble at that point. And it was just, my time to go
living
feast.
like the social media, I guess, like lifestyle with people coming, like social media influencer lifestyle, like being kind of social media famous and brand deals coming at you and stuff like that. And it felt like it was right where I wanted to be. But despite the outward quote unquote success, I was inwardly miserable. And the wealth and whatever it looked like, it wasn't profiting anything for me. Except for insanity, bro, just straight depression, oppression, stress, whatever you name it. And I remember one night, I was sitting in my house and I was like, this can't be life. There has to be more. Like, why am I here? Why am I not satisfied? I'm doing everything I ever wanted to do. And then it hit me. It was like,
one, there's a side of me saying, take your own life. Mm-hmm. Like it's worthless. There's nothing beyond this. And that's what depression does. It puts us in a box. Sure. And it tells us there's nothing beyond this.
Yeah.
And I remember, going to the other room, go grab a pistol. I was gonna, it felt like an eternity going down that hall to get it too. But as I turn back around and I go back down to the room, I get on my knees and I'm about to take my life. I'm shaking, I'm sweating, and I set the gun down. I pick it back up. I put it in my mouth. I'm shaking, I'm sweating. I shake, I put the gun back down, pick it back up, shaking, sweating. But there were two things that flashed before, my mind at this point. I was thinking through. Number one, if I were to shoot myself right now and I were to live, I would have to go through that same pain I went through as a 17-year-old boy when that bullet, wreaked havoc on my body at that time. And I know how excruciating that is. So I don't want to live through this. Number one, if it were to go down, if I were to shoot myself. But number two, the second thought that I had was that if I were to shoot myself and I were to die, and I've heard all the tales of when you die, but I would have to, one, face this omnipotent, omniscient, all-knowing, all-seeing God who's infinite in wisdom and knowledge and understanding, who's loving. Yeah. But on the other end of that, he's holy and he's just and he's different. And I've offended him in so many ways in my life. Am I ready to face him? And I just had to introspectively ask that critical question. Am I ready to meet my maker? And as I began to count the costs and look at both of them, I was like, there's only one way, one thing I need to do.
Yeah.
I need to humble myself. I need to cry out to the God of the universe, the one who made me, and figure out why I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a piece of it.
Yeah. So it's not when, there's a piece of it, but that's like, it's kind of like when it happens at 17 and you're like, oh, like I'm alive. Like I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I guess. But you kind of like between 17 and that point, you kind of like, I guess forget about it maybe a little bit, right? You're like, oh, I'm good. I'm new. You go back into like I'm an athlete. I can do this. I can do, I'm a stud. I can do whatever I want. Live a whole crazy lifestyle. And then you get to that point and you're kind of reminded, of, hang on a second, I've been given a new lease on life, but I've kind of like ruined it or kind of taken it for granted.
Boom.
Right?
That's exactly right.
And then you're like, I'm not ready to meet my maker because like he's gonna tear me a new one.
Yeah, basically. Right? Yeah. And that's why I'm thankful for brokenness. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he breaks us to save us. Yeah. And that's all throughout the scripture. It's all throughout the Bible. And one of my favorite things is that brokenness is the place, when we're at that low, dark pit, it's that place where he stops us, he halts us, he kills our progress so that we realize in and of ourselves, with all that we have, all that we are, that we're utterly insufficient without him. Yeah. And that's when it came to a realization that like, wow, I need you. Yeah. Like I need you for real this time. And then from there, he like answered my prayer through a cool way, which is, I love what you do, brother. Like how you invest so much time in social media, podcasts, across the board, giving people hope, inspiration, is because, he used a young lady in the brink of that moment, after these thoughts, I'm running through all this stuff, he used a young lady to write me a message in that moment on my phone. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree. You know what I'm saying? It was so dark in that room, but I pick it up and I couldn't swipe right. I think it was a sidekick back then or whatever, a razor. But I hit the button, and then it had this amazing, encouragement from her in the time I needed it most.